I think the league has grown exponentially in a very short period of time. It was on no one's radar before Ronaldo, I think, made his decision to come, and we appreciate what he's done for putting this league on the map. We've seen what we've done now against international competition, Al Hilal's performance in the Club World Cup recently. I think we just saw the data now that this league has the fourth highest level of salaries in the world after England, Italy, and Spain. So we're certainly now up there in terms of the caliber of people we have. And now I think that was great for kind of SPL 1.0. I think now it's time to evolve the league, and that's very much what our privatization process was a part of, is how do we create sustainable clubs in this league? How do we elevate the quality? How do we ensure that this is a league where stars and emerging stars are going, not just folks that are heading into retirement and kind of trying to get that last paycheck before they retire. And what's been amazing for us as we've gone through this current transfer window is players who I think historically would have not considered Saudi Arabia at this stage in their career are looking at us and now being willing to kind of divert their career from Europe to Saudi Arabia. And we hope that has something to do with us as a club, but also it certainly has a lot to do with the league, which is that it's evolved to a much higher caliber of play. And the league is on an exciting trajectory with, 9 years out, a World Cup coming, with other major tournaments coming. And so that means the infrastructure is going to improve significantly. And just the overall sophistication of the program, be it media, content, rights, will evolve at the same pace.
Hello everyone, we are today joined by one of the first foreign investors and club owners in the Saudi Pro League, Mr. Ben Hárberg. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for choosing Link as the podcast to speak to.
Not at all. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. So first of all, I would like to say wonderful logo, wonderful rebranding, amazing, refreshing, and a statement for change.
Yeah, thanks. We really wanted to think about that. Obviously, Al Ras, or the club, has had an interesting history of changing their logo several times over the last few seasons. In Europe, if you touch a club's crest, they will burn you to the ground. And so we just felt like we had a little bit more license to be creative. So we took a first stab at it, and then I was able to engage with the fans to think about maybe future versions of it. And already the fan-designed logo is now flying on the flagpole above our HQ right now in Al Ras. So we'll look to integrate that new logo into future jerseys. The first one had already been officially registered with the SPL, but it was a really fun exercise to engage with people, hear what mattered to them in terms of colors, what words were on it, and of course the kind of logo itself.
Yeah, I love it. Being one of Russ boys, I love it. I'm rooting for you, so well done. Ben, I know that you have been meeting the locals, soaking up the culture. You have met people in Ras, in Al-Qasim, and Riyadh as well. Tell me more. How did you find Saudi?
Saudi, it feels like a second home. The people here are phenomenal. There's just a culture of hospitality, of welcome, of treating people really in a wonderful way. It was phenomenal to get to meet the people in our Ras. I think we were all a little bit nervous about how big the fan base really was and how fervent they were. This is a newer club to the SPL. It's one that doesn't have a huge amount of history like the big boys that we had, gotten to know over the last few years. And so I really wanted to see what their level of passion was like, if we could actually feasibly fill a stadium with fans. And they were just so excited and welcoming, and it's been phenomenal. And I will continue to do that. I'll probably try to arrange something like that for even this Friday in Buraida to see the folks there. We have a friendly match that hasn't been publicly announced yet, but we'll have a friendly match there on Friday that I don't think public can come to. And then afterwards we'll host another one of these, and then we'll do the same for folks like yourself here in the capital, where we can bring together that kind of Al Ras diaspora or Kholood fans. We don't care where you were born or where you're from, to meet them and hear about what their views are.
That's wonderful. So, Ben, I'll start with the obvious question. Why Al-Kholood specifically? What drew your eyes to choose Al-Kholood?
So it's publicly available, but there were 3 clubs that were put up for tender during that first round of privatization. It was Al-Kholood, Al-Oraba, and Al-Kholood. Al-Oraba was relegated, so that one became irrelevant. Al-Kholood, we really liked it a lot, actually. Great facilities, a really passionate fan base as well. It unlike us in our Ras, it controls its own city. It's the only club there, 400,000 people, but it's quite far from the capital, obviously. What we liked about Al-Kholood, first and foremost, was where it's rooted. Al-Qasim, we believe, is the most exciting region of the country. There's this diaspora of folks like yourself who are hardworking, affluent, passionate. So it's just a really great place to be based and to come from. We liked actually that the club was newer to the league. We liked that it had maybe less history. And that gave us, again, like you saw with the branding, to be a bit more flexible, a bit more experimental. We also liked that gave us the ability to operate with a little less pressure. If I were to say buy Al-Shabaab or one of these bigger clubs, there would just be an immense amount of pressure on our shoulders. Yeah. This gives us, again, a bit more freewheeling ability to try new and experimental methods with the club as we build it out and work to find creative ways to survive in a very challenging league. And so that above all else sold us on the club.
Wonderful. So there is a lot of excitement about the Saudi Pro League now. We're talking locally and globally. How do you see it? How do you see it as a club owner? How do you see the big stars coming and everybody's talking about the Saudi Pro League? How do you see it from someone who owns a club?
Yeah, I think the league has grown exponentially in a very short period of time. It was on no one's radar before Ronaldo, I think, made his decision to come, and we appreciate what he's done for putting this league on the map. We've seen what we've done now against international competition, Al Hilal's performance in the Club World Cup recently. I think we just saw the data now that this league has the fourth highest level of salaries in the world after England, Italy, and Spain. So we're certainly now up there in terms of the caliber of people we have. And now I think that was great for kind of SPL 1.0. I think now it's time to evolve the league, and that's very much what our privatization process was a part of, is how do we create sustainable clubs in this league? How do we elevate the quality? How do we ensure that this is a league where stars and emerging stars are going, not just folks that are heading into retirement and kind of trying to get that last paycheck before they retire. And what's been amazing for us as we've gone through this current transfer window is players who I think historically would have not considered Saudi Arabia at this stage in their career are looking at us and now being willing to kind of divert their career from Europe to Saudi Arabia. And we hope that has something to do with us as a club, but also it certainly has a lot to do with the league, which is that it's evolved to a much higher caliber of play. And the league is on an exciting trajectory with, 9 years out, a World Cup coming, with other major tournaments coming. And so that means the infrastructure is going to improve significantly. And just the overall sophistication of the program, be it media, content, rights, will evolve at the same pace.
I see. So we know that you have experience with Qadis in La Liga. How does that compare to owning a club in Saudi Arabia, Al-Kholood club?
A different proposition. So obviously Cadiz is actually surprisingly a city that's not too much bigger than our Ras, maybe 150,000 people. Very passionate fan base. The stadium is generally packed every game, 30,000 fans. They're waiting outside the stadium for the team bus with flares. An incredibly passionate fan base in a really beautiful part of Spain. So a slightly different proposition, similar in the sense that Cadiz doesn't have a huge amount of history. We've been in the first division, I think, 7 seasons now. So a little less history, but certainly a much longer existing club. And so it's one that comes with more pressure. The fans there have much higher expectations because we were in La Liga for the last 4 seasons. During that period of time, we beat people like Real Madrid away. We beat Barcelona with Messi on the field in his heyday. We beat people like Roma and Manchester United in friendlies. We beat Atletico de Madrid regularly. So it was, the quality of competition in La Liga is no joke. Yeah. So that certainly taught me, though, a lesson for Al-Kholood, which is we were always one of the smallest payrolls in La Liga. We were typically a 45, 50 million euro payroll, and we were competing against the likes of Real Madrid, who had 680 million euro payroll. And yet we were able to survive and occasionally take points off of the big boys. And that's, again, a dynamic we're going to have to replicate here in Al-Kholood. I'm never going to win a financial arms race with Aramco, PIF, or even Niam Diriyah Alula. And so we have got to find ways to be creative and compete with these much more financially deep-pocketed competitors.
Wonderful. So when you bought Al-Kholood, or when you decided to invest in Al-Kholood, I'm sure you had a vision, you had a strategy. What does success look like to you?
Well, there are different phases of success. Success for the season is certainly to not get relegated. After that, what we want to do and build is, as you can imagine, we inherited pretty rough infrastructure at our current training facilities in Arras. We share a stadium with another club. So in the future, we're going to have to evolve our infrastructure. We want to build we want to build global first-class facilities. And so, when players are contemplating coming to the Saudi League, what they'd find within our club are first-rate facilities, top-notch global quality coaching, a player treatment experience that is, again, on par with the best European clubs, a great academy. And so all of these things will require time and infrastructure, but those are kind of the benchmarks we've set out for ourselves. We care more about the fundamentals and how we build that infrastructure than the outcomes. We're not sitting here saying we want to be in the Asian Champions League or we want to be top 5 in the league. What we want to do is survive first, buy time to build that infrastructure, and I think the success will come after that.
Amazing. So smaller clubs sometimes struggle to build a fan base, and Al-Kholood is no different. So it's a struggle, it's a challenge. How are you going to tackle this?
This is our favorite and kind of most fun challenge. There's a lot harder challenges out there. I think this is one that I really enjoy being involved with. I did a good job with Cadiz of taking a club that was relatively unknown outside of the region of Andalusia, which is where we're based, and introducing it to the world. And we went at Cadiz from around 500,000 social media followers when I got involved with the team to today, I think we're somewhere around 17, 18 million social media followers, which is more than all but 10 American sports franchises. And we built strong social media teams in China, in the Middle East, in Southeast Asia, to some degree in North America, in what we felt were all the high growth markets that were under-penetrated by global football clubs. And so we will certainly do that globalization side of Al-Kholood. But what's most exciting for me is I find that the Saudi sports and football fan population is highly underpenetrated. A lot of people here didn't have a lot of things to cheer for. A lot of people are from a province like yourself, but are now in Riyadh, and so they have this weird dynamic of a first or a second team, which is not something we have in the United States. You have a first team, and that's it, right? There's nothing non-negotiable. And so I think that there are a lot of what we'd almost call like sleeper cells that can be activated of people that never really had anything to cheer for, never felt like the fan experience at the stadiums here was very high quality, never really got behind the narratives of the clubs. I mean, it's easy to go and snap a picture of Cristiano Ronaldo on the field, but that doesn't build a deep sense of passion and fandom for a specific club. Clubs have to be, at the end of the day, community-based. They have to be a tradition that's passed down from fathers to their sons, mothers to their daughters. And so what we're doing is kind of taking the message to the streets and being evangelists for our club and showing them we're going to do things differently. We're going to run a very different club. And I'm not here to criticize other clubs, but we have the luxury to do that because I'm the first person where the buck stops with me. In other clubs in Saudi Arabia, there's a board, there's a president, there's a CEO, there's a finance head, and they kind of just keep passing the blame on to someone else, and presidents stay for a certain term and go away. Presidents care about winning today, but not the long-term sustainability of a club. And in most of the clubs in Saudi Arabia, they're losing significant money because it was all being subsidized by the government. We have to change that entire dynamic and say, we're not overpaying for players. We want to build a sustainable club, and we want fans that really love this product and are going to be with this club for the long term. And so I'm going out using social media and building a personal relationship with fans. We're going to build a product and experience they really enjoy. We're going to rethink the entire fan experience, how they see the entertainment of being in the stadium, the pre-game event, the post-game event. My experience in going to football matches in Saudi Arabia over the last 5 years has been you get into a horrible traffic jam getting in the stadium, you get to your seat as fast as possible, and you run away as fast as possible, probably before the final whistle, because you don't want to get stuck in that traffic again. And it's a big, dusty stadium with inferior food and beverage and whatever else. We need to reimagine all of that and find a way to make it a family-friendly, inclusive environment where people want to hang out before and after the game and put butts in seats.
That's amazing. I'm excited to see how that unfolds. So we are currently in the transfer market. the deadline is approaching. I'm sure I know that for a fact that you have enough on your plates. You're looking for players, Saudi or foreign players. Do you have a strategy in mind? Do you have a plan? Are you planning to buy big names, big stars, or just planning to recruit smartly?
It's highly unlikely for the rest of our history, our forward trajectory, you'll ever hear us announcing very big name football stars. We believe that the way we compete in this league is through a system, through data science, and not through overspending on big names. I find historically that when you do that, you end up with a kind of a disconnected club where you have a bunch of egos in a locker room. Each one wants to score goals. Each one thinks he's the main event. And you end up with a non-cohesive and usually underperforming club. I learned that lesson first and foremost when I was at the Club World Cup in Jeddah a couple years ago and watched Al-Ahly from Egypt, a club with probably a payroll not too dissimilar from ours at Al-Kholood, just absolutely throttle Al-Ittihad with Benzema and all their other Galacticos on the field. And I believe that that is a method that can be repeated here. So we are going after players that we, from a data science perspective and from a kind of a cohesion perspective, think fit our system. And so, every now and again, there might be a player that you might recognize. And certainly what we want is we want to have the alumni base that people are envious of. We want our players, particularly the Saudi ones, to be the ones that are populating the national team for the coming years and hopefully leading it to a World Cup glory in 2034. But that's what we want to be known for, not who we're bringing in, who we're putting out. And that Al-Kholood alumni network, and that should be our pride and joy.
Ben, you mentioned the big boys. You mentioned the PIF-backed clubs. They have a financial muscle. They are strong. Competition is tough on the field and outside of the field. I'm talking about the transfer market and, of course, when the league starts. How do you tackle this?
So there's actually quite a bit of opportunity to work in and around the edges of the big boys. They have the luxury today to be able to buy players and not develop them. I think their academies are nowhere near where they should be. And so we have the ability to build a kind of a youth and organic talent development system that enables us to sell into them. And likewise, when they have young talents that are really great, and you'll see some of these names announced when we're allowed to do so, we can go out and bring some of their younger players into our system, maybe on loan or with some kind of a buy option that enable them to get playing time. Because when you're sitting on a bench with that amount of money invested in players, you got to play those players. And so that means that the younger players, particularly the U21s that are Saudi nationals that are on these clubs, aren't able to see the field. And so we can be, again, that club that helps get Saudi players that critical playing time necessary to get them prepared for national team matches. And so I have no animosity towards the Big Four. I think I have great relationships with all the CEOs there and the PIF folks that sit above them. So our job is to work synergistically with them and find a way to work and fit in and around them so that they thrive and we thrive as well.
So you're one of the first foreign investors. Do you have plans to bring international sponsors to your team, your club, Al-Kholood?
Absolutely. My home or my day job is in technology investing as a venture capitalist, and so thankfully a lot of the clubs or the companies that I've invested in across my portfolio are the perfect ones that need direct to consumer marketing, and so they're companies that we've invested in that are regional businesses that I think would be a good fit for our branding. We would look to bring in global names as well. We're really trying to put the horse before the cart here. We want to make sure we build a presence, we build a nice brand. We will hopefully announce our jerseys within the next couple of days. The delay has been only that they're stuck in customs. Once they get out of customs and we can put them on a player and take a picture of it, they'll be out. They were done months ago. We knew what we were doing a long time ago. So once we've kind of got that full brand package, we'll take this out to the market and see what it's able to bear. But definitively, we want to make Al-Kholood a strong club domestically, but also someone that people know internationally. And that's the upside is all in front of us because no one's ever heard of us outside of Saudi Arabia today.
So finally, Ben, to all the Saudi fans, to Al-Kholood fans, what do you want to say to them through Link podcast?
So only that, again, we are going to be so different than what you've experienced to date within this league. We are going to be that club that is inclusive. We want to meet with you. We want to sit with you. We want to eat with you. We want to hear your views on the club. We want to, as long as people are respectful, and honestly, to date, everyone I've engaged with has been largely highly respectful, constructive, and people will send me paragraphs of recommendations, many of which are excellent. So my DMs are forever open. Send me your ideas. I want to meet with you in person. I want to hear how you think we can evolve this club and our league, because I'm also going to sit on the board of directors of the SPL, and will continue to advise the Ministry of Sport on a going forward basis around privatization and how we think about the future of this league. So you're not just giving advice to me about our club, but you're giving to about the future of sport here. But we want to be that community club that builds a fan base that are with us because they want to be with us, not because anyone paid them to or someone told them to, or it's popular to be with us. Just because your parents supported a club doesn't mean you have to. Just because your friends are from a club doesn't mean you have to. We are building kind of a rebel alliance to rise up, to challenge the bigger boys, of course, starting with survival, but later, hopefully, at a higher quality of play. And we need everyone to join us in that mission and that journey. And so it really is us against the world. And if you appreciate that kind of underdog story, someone who's fighting against huge odds and huge, in this case, capital against a very small base of our own, hopefully this story resonates with you.
It's amazing strategy. I think you're gaining a lot of followers, a lot of fans through your interaction with Saudi people through X. Ben, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for choosing Link. We wish you all the best, Ben.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.